Honda is a titan of reliable engineering. They built an empire on brilliant engines and indestructible chassis designs. However, even geniuses make terrible mistakes. Today, we expose the truth. We found the 4 greatest Hondas ever built battling the 4 absolute worst disasters they ever produced. You will discover the immortal machines that define perfection and the rolling garbage that mechanics completely despise. Stop burning your cash on bad investments. Let's go automotive bargain hunting for the ultimate truth right now. Number 8, the worst, the Honda Crosstour. We start with a massive blunder, a bloated whale, the crossover that nobody asked for. The Honda Crosstour. If you want a car that handles like a minivan but has the cargo space of a compact coupe for some ridiculous reason, this is it. It is the ugly mutated sibling to the legendary Honda Accord. They took a perfectly good sedan, lifted it up, and completely ruined the back half. Just look at it. It screams, "I have a terrible sense of proportion and I overpaid for a hatchback." It is massive, lumbers down the road with excessive body roll, and gets terrible gas mileage for what it actually is. People with functioning eyesight wouldn't be caught dead in one because it has zero cool factor. It's a confused mess on wheels, but this is the secret weapon of absolute depreciation. Under the hood, you will find the 3.5-liter J35 V6. It makes 271 horsepower. Because it is lugging around over 4,000 pounds of ugly sheet metal, it is constantly working hard. It uses a timing belt, so you always have to worry about it snapping and destroying the engine. The absolute worst years for buying one are between 2010 and 2012. In 2013, they received a minor facelift that barely hid the ugly, and a slightly better 6-speed automatic transmission. But under the hood of that V6 is Honda's dreaded variable cylinder management. This system shuts down cylinders to save fuel, but it is absolutely terrible. When it comes to known weak points, we need to be honest. The cylinder management system causes the piston rings to wear out prematurely, leading to massive oil consumption. You will be pouring quarts of oil into this thing between changes. If ignored, it fouls the spark plugs and destroys the catalytic converters. It is a miserable, expensive job to replace a fouled catalytic converter. Also, like many heavy Hondas of this era, the front brake rotors warp constantly because they are undersized for the massive weight. When you go to look at one, there is a specific checklist you must follow. First, check the oil dipstick. If it is bone dry or the oil is pitch black and sludgy, the engine has been eating oil. Walk away. Second, check the rear visibility. Sit in the driver's seat and look in the rearview mirror. The split rear glass design creates a massive blind spot. Check if the rear backup camera works, because if it is broken, you will back into a light pole. Third, test drive it at highway speeds and apply the brakes firmly. If the steering wheel shakes violently, the rotors are warped. You can expect to pay between $7,000 and $12,000 for a used one today. And here is a quick maintenance tip. Buy an aftermarket muzzler device. It plugs into the coolant temperature sensor and tricks the computer into never shutting off the cylinders. It's cheap insurance for your piston rings. The Crosstour is a bloated nightmare. But what if you want a lightweight legend? Our next car is a featherweight champion and features perhaps the greatest front-wheel drive chassis ever built by Japanese engineers. Subscribe to our channel if you want the best deals on cars and brutal honesty you won't find anywhere else. Number 7. The best, the Honda CRX Si. For only $15,000, you have the Emperor of go-kart handling. This is the car the tuner kids worshipped in the 90s, and they were driving one of the best engineered compact cars in history, and that's exactly why it's on our best list. This car is wildly desired because it's a golden era Honda from the late 80s and early 90s. The styling is a timeless wedge. The interior is full of simple, driver-focused analog dials that feel like a fighter jet cockpit. It screams, "I love to drive." Everyone under the age of 40 aspires to find an unmodified CRX. This car really runs forever and dominates corners because of 2 words: double wishbone. It is powered by the legendary D16A6 1.6-liter inline-4 engine. This engine is legendary. It is an all-aluminum block that weighs next to nothing. It is simple, robust, and unbelievably revvy. It only makes 108 horsepower, meaning it sounds weak on paper, but it only has to pull 1,900 pounds. It is attached to a 5-speed manual transmission, with shifts so crisp they feel like a rifle bolt snapping into place. The 1988 to 1991 generation is the sweet spot. They are classic enough to have zero electronic nannies but still have incredibly precise multi-point fuel injection. The SI trim gets you bolstered sport seats, a power sunroof, and a slightly stiffer suspension that is shockingly capable. There are some known weak points you must watch out for. The biggest enemy of the CRX is not mechanical failure, it is rust. The rear quarter panels and rocker panels degrade from road salt, causing massive structural decay that can kill the car. Most survivors have been patched or garage kept, so verify this has been done properly with a magnet. There are 2 little plastic climate control panels in the dash that crack every single time. You push the button for AR conditioning and the whole panel shatters into the dashboard. Replace them with aftermarket aluminum or 3-dimensional printed ones immediately. Also, the factory distributor igniter fails, leaving you stranded on the side of the road. Your buying checklist is simple but strict. First, check the rear wheel arches. If it looks like bubbly paint or you can poke your finger through the metal, the unibody is compromised. Run away? Second, inspect the engine bay for terrible wiring. Since these cars were cheap for decades, teenagers hacked them apart to install cold air intakes and terrible sound systems. If you see a nest of electrical tape, the electrical system has been neglected, which is a nightmare to trace. Third, test drive it until it's hot and ensure the transmission shifts firmly into 3rd gear without grinding, as the synchronizers take a beating from aggressive drivers. My older brother bought a faded red 1990 CRX Si for $2,000 back in 2005, and it had 140,000 miles on it. He loved it. He took it to autocross events every single weekend. He decided he would just drive the Honda to the absolute limit, slapping sticky tires on it and embarrassing guys in expensive Porsches on tight courses. 10 years later, he was still driving it. It had 220,000 miles. He admitted to me that it was the best car he ever owned because it handles better than modern sports cars, gets 35 miles per gallon on the highway, and parts cost literal pennies. He simply couldn't kill it. You can find these gems today for between $10,000 and $20,000 depending on how unmolested they are. A quick maintenance tip is to replace all the ancient rubber suspension bushings with modern polyurethane bushings. It tightens the handling back to factory specifications and transforms the cornering grip. Fresh bushings are the lifeblood of the classic Honda chassis. Are you loving this list of extremes? Click that subscribe button so you don't miss our next video. Honda made some great handling cars, but they also made some absolutely terrifying fakes. Our next entry is a disaster because it isn't actually a Honda car. It's the greatest automotive betrayal in history. Number 6. The worst. The Honda Passport. This is the dumbest used car purchase in America right now, and this car should literally be crushed into a cube. If you want Toyota reliability but you blindly trust a Honda badge, you will accidentally buy a first-generation Honda Passport and regret it forever. It is hated because it's a fraud, a desperate move by Honda during the sport utility boom of the 90s. People assume it's just another piece of bulletproof Honda engineering like an Accord or a Civic. It's a tall, rugged 4x4, which looks exactly like what people wanted. But the dirty secret is that it is not a Honda. It is literally an Isuzu rodeo with different badges glued to the grille. It was built in a joint venture factory in Indiana. The worst years to buy are the entire first generation from 1994 to 1997. They are complicated and fragile. The base model with the manual transmission is slightly better, but the 4L30E automatic transmission supplied by General Motors is the unreliability king. This transmission is notorious for burning out its clutch packs and failing completely. The engine produces 175 horsepower, but it struggles to move the heavy steel frame. Be honest about the fatal weak points. The 1994 to 1997 models had frame rust issues that could lead to the rear suspension literally detaching from the car as they aged. The government issued massive recalls for this. Just check the frame before you even open the door. Hilariously, the engines consume oil at an alarming rate, and the valves tick so loudly it sounds like a diesel tractor. I had an uncle who bought one of these brand new because he was a loyal brand fan. He drove it 20 miles a day to work. He babied it. He washed it every Sunday. At 80,000 miles, the automatic transmission completely exploded on the highway. He paid $3,000 to rebuild it. 2 years later, he took it in for an oil change, and the mechanic told him the rear frame was so rusted he could legally not let him drive it off the lot. The interior was pristine, the paint was shining, but you turned the key, and it was a death trap. It's a ticking time bomb on wheels. You can expect to pay between $1,000 and $2,000 for one today, which is exactly what scrap metal pays. A quick maintenance tip is to do not buy it. Seriously, walk away, buy a Toyota instead. And the Passport was a massive lie, but what if you need a high-revving masterpiece? You can't afford a Ferrari, but you can afford the sports car that redefined performance. Number 5. The best, the Honda S2000. The most legendary naturally aspirated car on our list, and still cheaper than a brand new boring crossover. The prices of the S2000 are rising fast. You can buy a 20-year-old model with 100,000 miles for $25,000. It's expensive, but the smart money buys it now before it hits 50 grand. It feels like a surgical scalpel. It runs forever because it is over-engineered, and that's incredible. It uses a high-rigidity X-bone frame, which is tougher than most closed-roof coupes. It does not use a slushbox automatic. It uses a stout, incredibly precise 6-speed manual transmission made in-house. The engine is the F20C 2.0-liter inline-4. It is a beast. It makes 240 horsepower without a turbocharger. It revs to an absolutely staggering 9,000 revolutions per minute. It uses timing chains that last the life of the engine. It is a pure high-strung roadster designed for joy. There is a critical rule for buying one. Know your generations. The 2000 to 2003 models are the AP1 generation, which revs to 9,000 revolutions per minute, but has twitchy, snap-oversteer rear suspension. The golden years for drivability are 2004 to 2009. The AP2 generation, they lowered the red line to 8,200 revolutions per minute, bumped the engine to 2.2 liters for more torque, and fixed the twitchy rear end. Your buying checklist is critical here. First, pop the hood and check the identification tags. Honda put matching stickers on every body panel. If a fender or bumper is missing a tag, it has been in a crash. Do not buy it unless it's dirt cheap. Second, look at the convertible soft top. The latches wear out and the fabric tears exactly behind the side windows, when a new top costs $1,500 installed. Third, inspect the rear tires. The aggressive factory camber setting chews through the inside tread of rear tires in 10,000 miles. You can find a solid driver quality model for between $20,000 and $30,000. That is a bargain for an appreciating classic. A quick maintenance tip if you buy an AP1 model is to replace the timing chain tensioner with an aftermarket billet version. It costs $200 and saves you a $7,000 engine replacement. Are you Team AP1 or Team AP2? Let us know in the comments if you'd take the screaming rev limit or the torquey cruiser. Subscribe if you want more unfiltered advice on buying legendary sports cars. The Roadster is a screaming thrill. Our next car tried to be a hybrid sports car and failed so miserably it became a joke. Number 4, the worst, the Honda CR-Z. We end up with the confused hybrid, the slug bug, the Honda CR-Z. Specifically the first and only generation that looks like a futuristic doorstop, but drives like a golf cart. It is hated because it is profoundly disappointing to 90% of driving enthusiasts. It looks like a modern reincarnation of the CRX. It is incredibly slow. It has massive blind spots, and it gets beaten off the line by a standard Toyota Prius because it has the aerodynamics of a brick compared to real eco cars. It fails completely because Honda's hybrid system was outdated the day it launched. Under the funky skin, this car is a compromised mess. It is built on a modified compact platform. It uses a 1.5-liter LEA 4-cylinder engine, paired with a tiny electric motor. This combined system has almost no power, making a total of 130 horsepower. You cannot have fun in it because it doesn't make enough power to get out of its own way. It is complicated, heavy, and underpowered. Because it carries heavy nickel-metal hydride batteries in the trunk, the handling balance is nose-heavy and dead. With the tiny cargo area, you can fit almost nothing in here that won't fit in a regular Civic. You want to avoid the 2010 to 2016 models entirely. The continuously variable automatic transmission drones loudly and saps all the joy from the engine. The 6-speed manual transmission is available, which is neat for a hybrid, but you are constantly rowing through gears just to keep up with minivan traffic. The honest truth about weak points starts with the fact that the hybrid battery will die. When the hybrid battery degrades around 100,000 miles, the car loses all its low-end electric torque and becomes dangerously slow. Replacing the battery is an expensive fix. The exterior door handles are cheap plastic and snap off in hot weather. Also, because the rear glass is split horizontally, it catches the headlights of trucks behind you constantly, blinding the driver. When buying one, check the battery health gauge. If the battery charge drops rapidly when you accelerate and takes forever to recharge during braking, the hybrid battery is shot. Find a different car. Turn on the air conditioning and listen for the engine to struggle as the compressor puts a massive load on the weak engine. Finally, check the 12-volt battery under the hood, which inexplicably drains itself dead if the car sits for more than 4 days. I have a friend who is an eco-nut. He loves saving the planet. He bought a CR-Z with 60,000 miles on it for $13,000 because he thought it looked cool. People made fun of him endlessly at car meets, until they saw him try to pass a semi-truck on a slight uphill grade, and he literally could not do it. He drove that thing in the right lane for 3 years. It now has 110,000 miles. The hybrid battery threw a massive failure code, and the dealer quoted him $3,000 to fix a car worth $5,000. That's it. He traded it for a bicycle. That you can find these for between $5,000 and $9,000. Prices have actually dropped because people are realizing how bad they are. A quick maintenance tip is to clean the hybrid battery cooling fan filter in the rear cargo area every 10,000 miles. If it clogs, it can cause the hybrid battery to overheat and die prematurely on high-mileage Honda hybrids. Click on the next video to continue the road towards the truth. But wait, we still have 3 cars left in this epic showdown. Number 3, the Honda Civic Si. For only $6,000, you have the emperor of the daily driver. This is the car the smart enthusiasts bought, and they were driving one of the best engineered compact cars in modern history, and that's exactly why it's on our list. The 2006 to 2011 generation is the sweet spot. They are modern enough to have curtain airbags and great stereos, but still have the classic high-revving, naturally aspirated engine before Honda moved to turbochargers. The sedan version gives you 4 doors, which is shockingly practical for how fun it is. There are some known weak points you must watch out for. The clear coat paint on these cars from the factory was terrible. The paint on the roof and trunk degrades from ultraviolet rays, causing massive white peeling patches that make the car look like a leper. Most survivors have bad paint, so verify the bones are good. There is a notorious third gear grind issue in the manual transmission. The synchronizers for third gear fail, causing a loud crunch when shifting aggressively. Replace the transmission fluid with genuine fluids immediately. Also, the sun visors split in half constantly. Your buying checklist is simple. First, check the oil dipstick. High-revving engines burn a little oil by design. If it is bone dry, the previous owner was negligent. Run away. Second, inspect the dashboard. The plastic dash cracks right down the middle from sun exposure. Third, test drive it until it's hot and ensure the transmission shifts firmly into third gear at 8,000 revolutions per minute. If it grinds, the transmission needs a rebuild. My buddy bought a black 2008 Civic Si sedan. It had 80,000 miles on it. He drove it hard. He delivered pizzas in it. He decided he would just bounce off the rev limiter every single day. 5 years later, he was still driving it. It had 200,000 miles. He admitted to me that it was the best car he ever owned because it handles incredibly well, gets 28 miles per gallon, and the engine never skipped a beat. He simply couldn't kill it. You can find these gems for between $5,000 and $10,000 depending on paint condition. A quick maintenance tip is to adjust the valve clearances every 100,000 miles because the solid lifters drift out of specification over time. Proper valve lash is the lifeblood of a high-revving engine. Honda made legendary sedans, but they also made one that almost destroyed the brand's reputation completely. Number 2, the worst, the 2012 Honda Civic. This is the most disappointing used car purchase in America right now. And this car will only set you back about $7,000, but you will hate every second of it. If you want boredom, but you want it to feel actively cheap, you buy a 2012 Civic. It is hated because it's the result of corporate cost-cutting during the recession. People assume it's just another piece of excellent engineering like the generation before it. It's a standard compact car which should be easy to get right. But the secret is that Honda cheaped out on everything. It is literally a downgrade from the 2011 model. It was so bad that Consumer Reports refused to recommend it, causing massive panic at Honda headquarters. Sit inside, and you are surrounded by hollow, hard plastic. The engine is the 1.8-liter R18 4-cylinder. It produces 140 horsepower. It is a slow drivetrain and a noisy body. You get Honda's reliable engine, but you get terrible ride quality, awful road noise, and dead steering, and you pay Honda prices because nobody realizes what a disaster the 2012 model was. The absolute worst year to buy is specifically the 2012 model. It was so bad that Honda did an emergency refresh for 2013, adding sound deadening and better suspension. Stick to the 2013 or newer for peak sanity. The base model features that 1.8-liter engine mated to a slow 5-speed automatic. Be honest about the weak points. It isn't that the engine will explode, it's that the car is miserable to exist inside. The 2012 models had incredibly thin window glass and zero sound insulation, leading to deafening road noise on the highway. Honda fixed this in 2013. Just avoid the 2012 entirely. It's a penalty box on wheels. You can expect to pay between $5,000 and $8,000, which is about 20% too much for what you get. A quick maintenance tip is to sell it and buy a 2013 model instead, to keep your sanity intact. The compact car was a massive fumble, but what is the greatest Honda ever produced, the absolute pinnacle of their engineering might? Number 1. The best, the Honda NSX. We end with the supercar killer, the Ferrari slayer, the Honda NSX, specifically the 1990 to 2005 models that redefined exotic cars. It is revered because it is profoundly brilliant to 100% of the automotive community. It looks like a fighter jet on wheels. It is incredibly balanced. It is comfortable on the highway, and it doesn't break down every weekend because it has the reliability of a Honda Accord. It runs forever because Honda used Formula One technology to build it. Under the stunning aluminum skin, this car is pure, distilled automotive perfection. It is the first production car to use an all-aluminum monocoque chassis. It uses the 3.0-liter C30, a V6 engine. This engine has 270 horsepower, which was massive in 1990. You cannot fluster it because it is designed to run flat out all day long. It is exotic, efficient, and overbuilt because it has perfect visibility and a massive trunk. You can daily drive it, something that won't happen in an old Italian exotic. You want any year of the first generation. The pop-up headlight models from 1990 to 2001 are the most iconic. A manual transmission is mandatory to extract the absolute joy of the titanium connecting rods singing at 8,000 revolutions per minute. The automatic is sluggish and robs the car of its soul. The honest truth about weak points starts with the fact that early models had a snap ring failure in the manual transmission case. Transmissions in the 1991 and 1992 models could literally crack open. Honda fixed it, but it is an expensive fix if the original owner didn't handle it. The climate control boards suffer from leaking capacitors and fail, requiring you to send the circuit board out for rebuilding. Also, because the car is so low it catches rocks constantly, so expect chips and cracks in the low front bumper. You can find these for between $70,000 and $120,000. Prices have skyrocketed because people are realizing how perfect they are, and they are still cheaper than modern soulless exotics. A quick maintenance tip is to replace the timing belt and water pump every 7 years or 90,000 miles, whichever comes first. It costs $2,000, but if it snaps, the engine is destroyed. Click on the next video to continue the road towards automotive mastery. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like us. Let us know in the comments if you would buy the CRX or the NSX.